حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. وأما بعد بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I gave a khutbah here about a month ago, and I said never take for granted the fact that we can wake up, take a shower, have money in our pockets, get in our car, drive to work, take a lunch break, and come to the masjid, and have no worries. Wallahi, I gave that khutbah last month. And then what happens a couple of weeks ago? New Zealand. Never take for granted the comfort life that Allah has blessed us with. Never take it for granted. It's human nature to take it for granted. There is one specific companion that I was a bit amazed with when I started learning about the Sahabas. His name was Suhaib al-Rumi, Suhaib the Roman. He wasn't Roman, he was part of a tribe, and went through warfare, and he was enslaved. And then he spent time in the Roman Empire. It is said that he actually spoke Greek. SubhanAllah, somehow, through trading, he makes his way to Mecca as a slave. He works extremely hard, he gets out of slavery, and he starts to accumulate a little bit of wealth, living a life of comfort. And then the calling of Islam comes, and he is intrigued by it. He accepts Islam. He begins to get tortured. So one thing that you need to realize in life, Allah does not tell you this life is Jannah. There are multiple things that can happen in your life. Allah throws curveballs left and right. Suhaib al-Rumi goes and endures this punishment. Allah then gives permission for the Muslims to leave Mecca. He makes hijrah. And so you can't just leave. They won't let you leave Mecca at the time. So he leaves at night. On his way, some thugs of Quraysh go and they start running after him. Long story. All he did is, I'll make a deal with you. I will give you my wealth. Just let me leave. And they said, we want all your wealth and we want the camel that you're riding on. Just make it difficult for you to leave. So he makes the deal. He makes the deal. On his way to Medina, the Prophet ﷺ says the following: your business transaction was most successful. The Prophet ﷺ was not there. He didn't even see what happened. The interaction between Quraysh and this man, Suhaib al-Rumi. I gave a similar khutbah maybe like 2 years ago. And I said what the Prophet ﷺ did in Medina was very interesting. He implemented this concept called social welfare. So you have a lot of immigrants and muhajirin coming into Medina. They have no money. All the money they left behind. And then they're coming, and how are they going to be? All of them going to be homeless? So the Prophet ﷺ, his genius, says what we're going to do is every muhajir will be with an ansar, and they will stay together, and they will split their wealth. They will work together, and they'll split the income. And subhanAllah, it worked. It worked. Now imagine all the torturing that the Muslims have endured in Mecca. Now they're in Medina, and now they're going to Masjid Nabawi, and they don't have to worry. And they have food in their table. They have money in their pocket. They're living with comfort. It's comfortable. They're happy. They're excited. How beautiful is it? You know, like going through what you're going through, and all of a sudden now you don't have to worry. And then another curveball happens. Life is full of curveballs. Redirection. The Prophet ﷺ hears that a caravan's leaving Mecca in which it has stolen property of the Muslims. So the Prophet ﷺ sends some spies, and they come back to say to the Prophet ﷺ, the spies, that in that caravan there's about 1,000 camels, and they start naming the things that are in the caravan. And if you do the estimate, Allahu A'lam, maybe like $10 million of today's worth. So the Muslims said, this is our caravan, look what they've done to us. So the Muhammad, without a blink of an eye, starts calling out, whoever is ready, let's go. This is what we call the prelude of the Battle of Badr. Let's go and get the caravan. It's not a time that they think, I'll give you a week. No, whoever is ready, we need to bounce now. So they accumulated over 300 individuals. Allahu A'lam, 313, 314, doesn't really make, around over 300. And they make their way out. One thing that you can say about Abu Sufyan, even though he didn't accept Islam right away, he was an intelligent military leader. And so when the spies started coming around and sniffing away around him, he started observing the things around him, and he started feeling the camel manure. And saying, these camels are from Yathrib because of the dates that the camel are eating. He knew something was up. So then he sends an ambassador back to Mecca to explain the situation. He takes the caravan to the Red Sea. That's all Abu Jahl needed to know. And the khutbah is not about the Battle of Badr. It's not. And then war was about to happen. Now here's the issue. The Prophet ﷺ has 300 individuals that wanted spoils. They wanted the caravan. They didn't want to fight. That's not what their goal was. And all of a sudden, a curveball was thrown at them. And the Prophet ﷺ says the following: what do you guys think we should do to the Sahabas that are there? Some people started giving answers. Miqdad ibn Aswad, he's a Yemeni who spent time in Mecca. He was of the lower class. He says the following. He's like, we will not be like the people of Musa alayhi salam, where they say, you and your little girl fight and we stay behind. Rather, you fight and we'll follow you. And all of a sudden, the mode of just the vibe changed. Where they were a little bit hesitant, now you can see within them, they're ready. Someone like him just sparked something. And the Prophet ﷺ is waiting for someone else. See, something about the people of Medina, of the Ansar, they pledged to protect the Prophet ﷺ in Medina. They're not in Medina. So they can kind of back out. Sa'd ibn Mu'adh says, we said we were going to obey you, and that's exactly what we'll do. And if you go fight, we will fight with you. At that point, the Prophet ﷺ smiled. What's interesting is, if you read the life of Sa'd ibn Mu'adh and Miqdad ibn Aswad, you will find this is almost like the pinnacle of what made them great. But how will we know their greatness unless Allah redirected them, throw them a curveball? Look at what happened in New Zealand. Look at that Prime Minister. The whole community of New Zealand's wearing hijab. Will we know the greatness of the people of New Zealand if that ugly thing didn't happen a couple of weeks ago? There are situations within us that happen, and we won't know about those individuals. Imagine Malcolm X, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks were not born in the 20th century. They were born in the 15th century. Would we know any of those individuals? We wouldn't know. But because of the turmoil and the curveballs that are thrown at life, subhanAllah, we know everything about them. So my khutbah today is discussing the redirection, the curveballs that Allah throws us in life, and how do we interact. I'm going to talk about me personally, because I am a youth that, I'm still a youth, alhamdulillah, for another 4 years, that went through certain things in my life as a Muslim kid in school with no one in class with him but being a Muslim kid by myself. I was 9 years old, I was in 2nd grade. The Persian Gulf War started. Had no idea who Saddam was. But man, they made fun of me. I was so confused. I didn't know. I didn't know. And I remember getting made fun of and so like, what's going on? I didn't come from a very practicing family, so it was very confusing. And a lot of the individuals, a lot of the kids that I grew up with, a lot of them kind of stayed away from Islam. Even being Middle Eastern, they didn't want to be associated with them. So they changed their names, they went out, just became different. Alhamdulillah, in senior of high school, I started praying. And then 2 years later, 9/11 happens. Again, confusion. Like you guys, like growing up, the khatib always spoke Arabic where I was, didn't understand anything about Islam. So my foundation is a little bit weak. And so a lot of my friends, even though they memorized and they were a product of weekend school and on command they can recite some beautiful surahs, because their roots are not strong, wherever the wind takes them, they go with it. I had a friend memorize Baqarah, Surah Baqarah, and then after 9/11 he stopped praying. So these are all issues that are happening to us. And now the Islamophobia machine's happening. And now life is throwing us a curveball again. I always look at the young people I'm dealing with, because I do a lot of youth work, and I look at those kids are me. I didn't have a leader, I didn't have a mentor, but I'll be the leader in which I wish I had. And I'm seeing the things that they're going through, and it's scary. I did a qiyam 2 years ago with a bunch of middle school kids. I know I'm not talking to the microphone, I'm very tall. Okay, let's see. All right, bismillah. I'll crouch. In the process of talking to them, I said, have you guys been bullied before? This is going to shock you. If you weren't paying attention to me, pay attention to me now. The kids said, yeah, we have all been bullied. I'm like, who bullies you? They said, other Muslim kids. So other Muslim kids are bullying them. This is in Southern California. So maybe 6 months ago, there was a video that went viral of a Syrian girl in high school that got beat up in the bathroom. So I decided in that room, I have a middle school halakha from 6 to 7, that I'm going to study what makes people bullies. So through my research, I found the following. What makes a person a bully? There's one concept of being a bully. There's multiple reasons why someone becomes a bully. The first one, or one of the reasons, is a proactive bully. The individual knows that they are going to be bullied, so they'll do it first, so they're part of the cool crowd. So Muslim kids today are in school, and they know they're going to get bullied, so then they'll start bullying their Muslim brothers and sisters, so they're with the in crowd. And guess what? These kids that are actually the ones that are bullying, you might even see them at the masjid. They're the mashallah kids that you tell them to recite Quran, and everyone smiles. So this is what's happening, and this is what really shocked me. When we talk about redirection in life, it's no question we see what happened in New Zealand. We're like, yeah, this is a curveball. This is what's impacting the Ummah right now. The issue that I have, because I'm so intimately involved with youth work, how do I put this? We're being redirected for the last 30 years, and we have no idea. We don't. We're clueless. We have a lot of issues. So I'm not saying this is the issue that we should all focus on. I just want to shed some light on it. That's all I want to do. About a year ago, I gave khutbah at another community. After I was done, a man came up to me, and said, my nephew, who's 24 years old, is an atheist. He memorized a lot of Quran. He was part of the masjids, he was always involved. And then when he got in college, that's it. And he said something that shocked me. He says during Ramadan, he sometimes fasts. Even though he doesn't believe in Allah, he fasts. And here's a kicker. He sometimes goes to Tarweeh. He sometimes goes to Tarweeh. He doesn't believe in Allah. He rejected God. So then I started thinking, right? This happened. It was like kind of an odd question. And then I started thinking about, what do college professors do? They want to challenge you. So stay with me because this is an interesting story. There's a activist, a Jewish man who's a professor at a university that I went to called DePaul University, Dr. Norman Finkelstein. He's a big advocate of the Palestinian cause. Everyone said you have to take him. There's one reason why I didn't take him. My roommate took his class. And my roommate said, the first thing he says in class, pay attention to this. He goes to class, by the way, this is about like politics. It has nothing to do about God in the class. He says, how many of you students believe in God? Or, pardon me. How many of you students do not believe in God? Do not believe in God. Out of the 30 students, 6 raised their hand. We got 6 smart students in the class. To him, you have to be intelligent. In order for you to be intelligent and smart, that means you have to reject the existence of God. There's professors that will challenge Muslim students and says, you believe that your prophet went to the heavens in one night? So one second, hey, come here. You believe that he split the moon? And they will challenge these kids, and the kids are like, or these young adults, and they don't know what to say. So that shook me. I believe everything is destined by Allah. So I said, Allah put this guy in my life for a reason, this 24-year-old atheist, confused young man. So that day I decided I was doing a program at ICOI to do an open Q&A with the middle school kids. You can ask me anything. So I'm going to go off topic, but I'm going to come back to it. I have a 4-year-old son. May Allah protect him and make him of the Salihin. Ameen. I believe an age that your kids will begin to understand the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ is the age of 3. I used to think it would be like 6 or 7, but he explained to me the seerah of Batman at the age of 3. He explained to me Joker. He explained to me Penguin. He explained to me Bane. I had no idea who some of these guys were. But that was a good day because I realized when I'm giving the tafsir of surahs that he's memorizing in school, and he has no understanding of it, I will use Batman. I'll be like, Abu Lahab is like Penguin. Abu Jahl is Joker. And then I can see by his eyes he's getting it. So, being a person that was raised in the States, I go to the youth program that day. I said, guys, can ask me any question? They start writing their questions down. I would say 70% of the questions were about the existence of God. So I'm going to give you one question. One of the questions is, who created Allah? A lot of questions. Who created Allah? So I said, I'm going to answer the question. And it's not me. This is an answer that I got from Zakir Naik. And I said, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Pay attention to what I'm saying. The question is to the kids. Jack is a man. Jack is a man. He goes to the hospital to give birth. Does he give birth to a boy or a girl? The kids look at me like the question doesn't make sense. He's a man. That can never happen. I'm like, what you're asking me is the same thing. It's not logical. I can never answer it. And then it clicked. I can see in their faces it made sense. Did I go into philosophy and all? No. I'm speaking the language of what they would understand. And then I can see a little by little they understand this, but the problem is, are we teaching this to our youth? So when they're challenged with this, are they really, really, truly understanding it? I'm going to go really quick. I've been a part of maybe like 5 different communities in the last like 5 years in different states. As I'm giving examples, you won't know which community it is. One of the communities I was involved in, the masjid hired a PhD imam. He was very, very intelligent, very smart. It didn't work out well. During his exit interview, he said something very profound. I thought it was really weird, actually, too. He said, I have a PhD, and you have me teaching young kids. I got a PhD to teach young kids. So I'm going to shock you guys right now. You guys ready? All right. All marketers for all these big companies, everyone that works for them have PhDs for your kids. I'll give you an example. Next time you're at Walmart, go to the cereal aisle. Go to the cereal aisle, look at Toucan Sam, Rice Krispie, whatever, and I don't even, all the animations that you see. And look at their eyes. Are their eyes looking up? Are they looking straight? Or are they looking down? If you look at all the cereal boxes, all the animations in their eyes, they are looking down. Why? They're making eye contact to your kids. They're looking exactly to your kids. So your kids look in the cereal boxes, guess what? They're making eye contact to your kids. If you ask most Americans, us, what are some certain things that you hate? You'll get the answer, we don't like mice. We don't like mice. Like, wallah, I'm 6'4" and like 200 and change. If I see a mice, I jump on the chair. Isn't it interesting we all make hijrah to see Mickey Mouse? See, what the marketers have done, they took something ugly, but they presented it in a very beautiful way. I'll end with this, the first part of the khutbah. I'm in sales, I do a lot of marketing. So one time I did a tour of a graphic company. And so when they were showing me all the prints that they do, and all the packaging that they do, it was very dirty. Like if you look on the ground, there's a lot of paint. And as they gave me the tour, there's a vault. And so you put the code in. And then all of a sudden it opens up. It's high tech. Inside of it, the floor was super clean. And I looked at the printer. The printer, you can imagine your printer and multiply by 1,000 times bigger. And I said, what do you print here? And he says, oh, this printing that we print here are for cigarettes and for wine bottles. See, when it comes to shaitan does not have a budget. Nothing but the best for you guys, to mislead you. What's outside is beautiful, but what's inside of it is straight up poison. So he's going to market it in a very beautiful way. If you go to like a Target or Walmart and you walk through all the aisles, I guarantee you the liquor aisle is going to be the most beautiful. The packaging and the design. Imagine if you're a kid and like, well, what's that? But inside of it's poison. No budget. Their marketing is through a vault. Why are they focusing on kids? Because they know very well if they can mislead your kid, guess what happens? They have a customer for life. That's it. They have a customer for life. Anyone that drinks alcohol when they're 12 years old, they'll be drinking until they're 82. Smoking. Some of you almost might have been smoking when you were little. It took you years, decades to quit. They know. And that's their ultimate goal. You know, what we saw in New Zealand, that man is a victim. I say that. He's a victim of Islamophobia. No one is born hating people. Allah didn't create us that way. He wasn't born hating people, but Islamophobia impacted him, and he became a victim of it. He's going to be held accountable for it. But one thing that you need to realize, that the Islamophobia machine that's attacking us as an ummah, they're focusing on your kids. That's it. They're focusing on your kids. They don't care about me and you. What are we going to do? Either we're Muslim or we're not. But for those kids, they want to make them feel awkward. They want them to bully other Muslim kids. They want them to be embarrassed. I grew up with a bunch of kids that were embarrassed. Even recently, I know 7 sisters that, like family friends, that took off hijab. Times goes tough, and then this is what's happening. So this is something that we desperately need to reflect on. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله So I truly believe in 20 to 30 years, we will have like a youth director, youth centers all throughout America. For sure, I have no doubt about it. But I believe that will happen when a lot of our kids, and inshallah I'm wrong, will start being further away from the deen. Once a board member's child becomes an atheist, they're like, well, we can't do this for the next generation, we need a higher youth director. Or we need to build a youth center. We as a community are very reactive and not proactive. Don't let something bad happen to us to say, okay, we need to step up on our game. That's something that we do not need as a community. There's another masjid I just got an email from. May Allah reward them, and I'm not saying anything negative. They're trying to raise, and it's not this community, and may Allah bless this community, because it's really a solid community, mashallah. Of all the communities I've been to in the last 5 years, this is on top. And I say this proudly. They're trying to raise $60,000 in 45 days to enhance security. No one will disagree with what they're trying to do. No one will. Yeah, we need more security. Ramadan's on the way. The question is, how much money do we need to support our community to hire a proper youth director and a youth room for the security of our kids and for the future? How much? We'll spend money for security. Yeah, we understand that. But how much money are we willing to say, you know what, we really need to step up our game? We don't want to lose our kids. We want them to come to the masjid. Wallahi, true story. Like, if I don't give khutbah, I always go to my son and I say, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go for khutbah Jummah, baby? He says, Baba, I want to go to the air hockey masjid. In Chino Valley Masjid, there's a boys' room that has an air hockey machine. So to him, he wants to go there. Okay, if you pay attention, that's what they need. You need to attract people, the youth, to the masjid. It's through these type of things. There's nothing wrong with it. So certain things that we can do, and I'll be really quick. Certain things that you, as a father, an uncle, and older brother, can say to your kids, you're not alone. Ibrahim alayhi salam, we have a very vivid understanding of how he lived his life as a young person. When he destroyed the idols, when his town went outside and were doing their little celebration, he stayed behind. He destroyed all the idols with the exception of the big one. When his people came back, listen to Surah Anbiya, very interesting. We heard a young man named Ibrahim talking about them. When they saying a young man, he's young, like you guys, inshallah, some of you guys here, but then they didn't know who he was. We heard a young man. If they knew who he was, they'd be like, it's Ibrahim that did this. It's interesting because his community did not know who he was. Imagine if he did a lineup right now in Babylon, whatever, Allahu A'lam, 5,000 years ago, they wouldn't know who he was. But isn't it funny? The Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims are all saying he's ours. Half the population of the world is saying he's ours, and his own community did not know who he was. You're not alone. Ibrahim alayhi salam, even though he was alone in his community, had a deep relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you young people that are in your school and you're praying and you're feeling awkward, congratulations, you're in the company of Ibrahim alayhi salam. You're not alone. His community didn't know who he was. That did not stop him. You are not alone. Be different. It's okay. You're weird. Embrace your weirdness. You'll be popular in Jannah. It's forever. Thank God. Don't worry. You're good. Another thing is, if you see youth walking around, make dua for them. We have an interesting scholar in America called Suhaib Webb. He used to work in the flea market in the late 80s. And he accepted Islam. He's a scholar now, mashallah, memorized Quran. He's, mashallah, may Allah bless him. He said when he came back to the flea market after accepting Islam, a Muslim business colleague, maybe a couple tables down in the flea market, says, I've been making dua for you for such a long time that you would accept Islam. And the way Suhaib Webb would explain it, he said that he looked, not the part, he looked very thuggish. So when you see like some youth acting a certain way and dressed a certain way and being impolite, Don't curse them. Make dua for them. Maybe your calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer your prayers, and then that person will change for the rest of their lives. Another thing that we can do, and I'll be quick, we're going to ask for funding. Not right now. We have a fundraising dinner tomorrow, right? We have a fundraising dinner tomorrow. I'm going to be, after Jummah Khutbah, I'll be over there by the food. You can't miss me. And I'm going to be selling tickets. If you cannot go, we'll still take your donations. Our goal is to raise $80,000 for the upcoming year. To do an event every month, either for middle school, elementary school, or high school, to try to hire a youth director in our community. Very simple. And also, there's a youth room, and we want to make sure we could be like Chino Valley Masjid and have a ping pong table, air hockey table, make it very creative for the kids that want to come. So imagine you bring your kids, they can come after Jummah and play at the youth room. But we need the funding. So if you can come tomorrow, alhamdulillah, we'll sell you tickets. If not, you can make a donation. It's very simple as that. But I'll be honest, and we had a Chuck E. Cheese event on Halloween. So Halloween, I view Halloween to be wrong. And we decided as a masjid that we're going to not rent it out, but we're going to work a deal out with Chuck E. Cheese. So any Muslim kid can go in there and will be covered by one of the donors of the community, right? And I started hearing things. Guess what I heard? These people that are coming with their kids, guess what? They have money. They have money. Why can't they just pay $10 a person? Why do we have to pay as a masjid? Not the board members. These are people like, I'm hearing stuff. I'm going to answer this very, very, very easy. After the conquest of Mecca, when the Prophet conquered Mecca, Sufwan ibn Umayyah ibn Khalif's son, Sufwan, asked the Prophet ﷺ, I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I want to accept Islam. Give me 2 months. The Prophet ﷺ says, I will give you 4 months. After the conquest of Mecca, there was the Battle of Hunayn. We're fighting the people of Ta'if. Just stay with me for a second. In that battle, there was a lot of new Muslims in the battle. The battle takes place. Unfortunately, the new Muslims weren't really equipped to handle the battle, and they almost created more confusion. The Prophet ﷺ regroups, and they're able to defeat the people of Ta'if. One thing that the people of Ta'if did was they made sure during the battle that they would go all out. So they decided to take all their wealth with them. And so if they ever retreated, they would see their wealth, and that was supposed to encourage them to fight even more. Well, guess what? They lost, and the Muslims achieved a lot of the spoils of the war. A fortune. So when I'm looking at the Prophet ﷺ's life, I actually realize he was a true genius off this. He began to divide the wealth of the spoils to all the new Muslims. Sufwan ibn Umayyah gets 300 camels. Abu Sufyan gets a fortune. These two individuals in particular do not need wealth. They have money. But the Prophet ﷺ knows they're attached to dunya still. Their Islam is fragile. So I will give them dunya to draw them closer to Islam. And one thing about Islam, the more you pray and the more you get to know Allah, the more it hits your heart. And the Prophet ﷺ knew that. And these are the individuals that they accepted Islam, it hit their heart, and actually we, being from Sham and being from Iran and Pakistan and India, these are the companions that shifted that. They left and they fought to open up lands. Because the Prophet ﷺ was very strategic. The parents can afford it, but who cares? They don't need the money. They don't need the youth center. They have a basement full of activities. That's not the goal. Our goal is to attract them, to give them dawah. For them to come to Chuck E. Cheese and not celebrate Halloween and hear a 10-15 minute khatira about Allah, what's better than that? Who cares? Is it worth $1,000? To me, it's worth $5,000, if not more. It might change your life for good. You never know. So these are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, and I promise I'm going to end with this. I got a question from Sheikh Walid Basuni from Houston, and he asked the crowd this. I was taking a class with him. He said the following. He says, what makes a good father? What makes you a successful father? Someone raised their hand and says, my kid goes to Jannah. He says, you're incorrect. Because if that's the case, Azar, which is Ibrahim a.s.'s father, would be in Jannah, and he was an idol maker. And Nuh a.s. would have been a terrible father because his son was not a believer. The Sheikh told us very specifically, your job is to give them the tools to be successful. As a community, are we raising and giving our kids the tools to be successful? That's for you guys to answer. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us what is good. I ask Allah, oh Allah, make our best day today that we meet you. Oh Allah, protect us from your punishment. Oh Allah, you're all forgiving, so please forgive us of our shortcomings. Oh Allah, make us better than what people perceive us to be. Oh Allah, ease the suffering all over the Muslim world. Oh Allah, please guide our youth and make them successful in this life and the hereafter. Oh Allah, make our youth the coolness in our eyes. Oh Allah, make us the coolness in our children's eyes. Oh Allah, protect our youth from Islamophobia. Put barakah in the donation so we can support our youth. Oh Allah, help us be agents of change and implement this khutbah in our life. Oh Allah, help us to live to Ramadan. Oh Allah, protect us from your punishment. Make our best day the day that we meet you. Wa akhir da'ana walhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa qim as-salat.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إني وجهت وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله يبدأ الخلق ثم يعيده ثم إليه ترجعون ويوم تقوم الساعة يبلس المجرمون ولم يكن لهم من شركائه شفعاء وكانوا بشركائهم كافرين ويوم تقوم الساعة يومئذ يتفرقون فأما الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فهم في روضة يحبرون وأما الذين كفروا وكذبوا بآياتنا ولقاء الآخرة في العذاب محضرون فسبحان الله حين تمسون وحين تصبحون وله الحمد في السماوات والأرض وعشيا وحين تظهرون يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي ويحيي الأرض بعد موتها وكذلك تخرجون الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Please remain seated. We do have a very important guest. We do have Captain Rodriguez from the Corona PD who's going to address you. But before that, we are all safe. So this is a police department that is for the entire community. So I thank you. I thank them from all of us on all of our behalf, inshallah.
Hi. How you doing? How's everything going? Well, thank you for the invite. I was just talking to Yusuf out here, and I said, hey, what am I coming in for? And he says, oh, you're going to speak. I said, really? Nobody told me. So my name is Captain Jerry Rodriguez. Been with the department 29 years, and this is Lieutenant Jim Ock, about 25 years. But it's always an honor for me to come and participate in activities or functions that you guys are part of. I've attended, gosh, over the last 9 or 10 years, the iftar dinners, which we'll be at again this year. It's always an honor for me to be a partake in that as well. But just so you know, from the Corona Police Department, we what's important to us is those relationships and those partnerships that we have in the community. And it isn't about, our crime rates over the years have been fairly low, and it's not what we do. It's about the relationships that we have, regardless of what race, what genders, faith. It doesn't matter to us. We're here to support each other, be each other's eyes and ears, and do what we can to make sure that we feel safe in our community. There's a lot of senseless violence that goes out in the world, obviously with what happened in New Zealand, but so many other activities here in the United States that just, quite frankly, don't make sense. And so we have to make sure that we, unfortunately, we have to remain vigilant, work together as a community to make sure that we're safe, and hopefully that we can continue to grow and prosper as a community and be supportive of each other. And hopefully we don't have any of those kind of issues that happen in other areas of the world. So we're always here for you. We will always be a part of this community, and we thank you for your support. And hopefully we can do the same for you and continue to do that and have those relationships. So thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Lieutenant, for coming out here, and thank you for your support all the time. You know, we are not new to you. You're not new to us. So, you know, so we thank you. And of course, tonight we have the event. We'd invite you to attend, inshallah. So, inshallah means God willing. And we will, you know, keep continuing this relationship. Thank you again. Thank you.